Good morning. Oh, the breeze today is so lovely. And it is finally a little bit cooler. It has been very, very toasty. But yes, breeze today, much, much cooler. I've opened up all the windows and doors in the house, letting all that fresh, cooling kind of air in. Oh, it's all looking so beautiful. And as always, thank you very, very much for joining me. It should just be such a fun video. Oh, the parrots this morning. Can you hear? I hope you can hear that. It is quite early still, so the birds are all excitable this morning. Well, I am dressed and I am about to head out. I want to go and do my sort of farm shop, get my fruit, veg and meat for the week and get that all sort of sorted. I've also got a hair appointment today. I need to do some flower arranging. I've got the flowers we did together a few weeks ago have now gone over, so I want to head down to the orchard and cut some more gorgeous flowers. And I'd like to definitely do that today. They're forecasting rain kind of from this afternoon and then for sort of the next 3 or 4 days. So I'd love to be able to get the flowers kind of cut and out on the patio so I can enjoy them over the next few days. The other thing I want to do, and I will actually do that before we head off to the farm shop, I'm so excited. Last week we did an experiment together. We actually not planted, but we got pineapple tops, like the top of a pineapple, and we put them in sort of water planters to see if they would sprout, so like a root system. Well, do I have an update for you. So we'll pop inside and I will share that with you. But I just thought I would bring you outside because I am out here just enjoying a little bit of the early morning sunlight and vitamin D. Gosh, this is really filling in, isn't it? Like, look over here. Do you remember? That was only a couple of weeks ago when we planted all of this up. And a lot of this was like bare dirt. But it's all filling in so nicely. And I'm unbelievably happy with that height. My sitting room is just through there. So I like to be able to look out onto the garden when I'm reading or watching TV or potentially, sitting on the laptop on the couch. But everything is looking so, so good. We had a casualty. I'll maybe have a chat to you a little bit more about that later on. But similarly, look at how gorgeous. All of this has filled in beautifully. I love this. I can see this Gaura from my room, and look at these gorgeous little dainty blooms just up, and with the wind today they are just dancing in the breeze. Oh, so gorgeous. Oops, oh, bugs, sorry. This is all filled in. The white crepe myrtle is still looking beautiful. It has been months now. Oh, she's always such a showstopper. We've also had, if I can zoom in before he goes, can you see the dragonfly there on the irrigation point? We've had so many dragonflies this season. I don't know if I've ever noticed that many dragonflies, but goodness me, can you see him there? Him, her, I'm not sure how to tell. But he's just sort of chilling. But there's been so many. Everything else is looking really nice. This is looking a little bit sad, but if we sort of pan up to the top, it is actually doing really well at the top, and I am still harvesting so many cucumbers. I'm gifting them away now. I'm getting so many of them. The tomatoes are still, I cannot believe the tomatoes are going strong still. Strawberries are kind of doing their thing again. We're getting little strawberries through. And then, as I said earlier, we might head down to the orchard a little bit later on. Sorry, spiderweb. Do you remember the spinach had a massive cutback? Well, look at it. It has already bounced back. Oh, I can see cucumbers in there. We might have to, can you see one in there? And I can see one further up as well. We might have to come out with our harvest basket, harvest some cucumbers, and then head down into the orchard to harvest some flowers and do, yeah, beautiful little floral arrangement. Gosh, everything in here is just looking lovely. These flowers on the corner, they're starting to go over a little bit, but gosh, they've been pretty. Anywho, let's head inside and let me show you the exciting update with the pineapple. So, you will note I now have a third pineapple, little top here. So these are the two that we did last week together. And would you look at that, those roots? That's in a week. I cannot believe it. I'm so excited. Look at all of the roots. So it's just worked an absolute treat putting the tops in water. And even this little fella here, can you see? Just the one little shoot there. So cute. And then I did end up getting another pineapple. So I took the top off of that one as well. And you can see here, the roots here all starting. Hopefully it's coming across on camera, but it is looking absolutely incredible. I'm so excited. So I've got a bit of an idea of where I think these will end up. I want to put them all in the orchard together. So when we head down to the orchard later on, I'll show you where I'm thinking that these will get placed. All right, we are in the car. We are ready to go. I've got my shopping list. I've got everything I need. So let's head off now to the farm shop, butcher, and get all of our delicious produce for the week. Arrived at the farm shop butcher kind of little complex area, and before I get out of the car, I wanted to take a moment for the bag. So if you have been subscribed for a little while, you know that I bought this bag a couple of weeks back at the outlet center, and oh, let me tell you, I've used it many times since then, but I absolutely love it. It is just the perfect summer bag. So happy with that purchase. The size as well is incredible. I can fit everything in there. So yeah, very, very happy with this purchase. All right, let's get out of the car, and we're going to head into the butcher first, and then the farm shop, and then we will head on home. Groceries are all loaded up. Heading home now. Alright, I'm home and I popped all the groceries away, and I just wanted to show you very quickly. So today, while I was at the farm shop, they still have pineapples in stock, and so I've bought another pineapple to have as my little tasty snacks. And so I kind of just wanted to show you what the pineapple looks like all together. I don't know if I've shown you one all together, but that is the pineapple. And so you can see here, that's obviously the pineapple top, and this one in particular has two. So when I go to cut this pineapple up, what I will actually do is kind of take this top off, and then I'll separate both of those and then look to kind of do exactly what I've done here and pop them into glass jars with water to get that root system going. And then this is probably going to be the last two that I do that with for a little while. I have mentioned before, pineapples, so once these get in the ground, they take almost 2 to 3 years to produce an actual pineapple. So it'll be some years that we'll have the pineapples before the pineapple plants before I actually get pineapples. And what I wouldn't mind doing is kind of staggering my supply. So I've already got one pineapple plant in the garden, and so that's a year ahead. And then this little kind of grouping here will be from this year, and then almost next pineapple season, I want to do like another little grouping, and I don't have oodles of space. So I kind of want to be a bit more selective of how many I'm doing this round. I'm obviously very excited about it, and I could easily, you know, every time I buy a pineapple, keep the tops and plant them up, but I don't have the space for all of them, and I think it would be really nice to have a bit of a succession of pineapples like each year, hopefully, fingers crossed. But yeah, so anywho, I just thought I'd quickly show you that, and I will cut that up a little bit later on. But I have about half an hour now before my hair appointment, so I thought we might pop outside quickly and maybe do a little bit of harvesting and get the, if we've got time, maybe do the flowers. If not, we might just harvest a few things and then do the flowers this afternoon. Okay, first things first, little cucumber haul. This one here might be a bit of a, unfortunately, throwaway situation. I think that one was left a little bit too long, but the other three are brilliant. So I'm going to pop them in the basket. And I actually think the other thing I might do is pull up one of my onions. I want to make a sort of make a large spaghetti bolognese, and I will use an onion for that. So we might pull up an onion as well. Yeah, I think that one's gone over. Just stopping in to do a little bee check, and the Australian native bees are looking good. So over here near the brown onions, and I think maybe I'll pull up two because they are ready to go. So I might pull up one of the bigger ones and then maybe just like one of these smaller ones. I won't be cooking them until tomorrow, so I'll kind of just take them inside. Sorry, I'm just knocking the dirt off. I'll take them inside and kind of let them dry out a little bit overnight so they are ready to go for tomorrow's spaghetti. So down in the orchard area, I don't know when the last time was that I brought you down here actually, but everything is just growing so quickly. It's all looking really good. All the citrus. And of course, the cut flower garden. So these are some of the blooms that I'll see if I've got a bit of time quickly now just to cut some off. You can see, like, look at the gorgeous colours. So I might get in there, even if it's just fairly quick, and even if I can just cut them now before I've got to go. They're all sort of going out towards the blueberries. I desperately need to get some thick gloves on and try and kind of start wrapping or pulling back the Atherton raspberry. It's getting a little bit wild there, and I kind of just want to contain it more to its pot. But the other thing I thought I would just mention while I was down here was where I was thinking of putting the pineapples. I was kind of thinking of putting them just in along here. We've got a few little gaps. So even like having like maybe one or two here in the front. And then over here, you can kind of see in this back corner, it's just really not used at the moment. So I think it'd actually be quite good to do like a bit of a topsoil and then plant them in through. It is actually a bigger space than what it looks like on camera. And then just kind of pop them in through there. They just need to be somewhere where they're getting water and sunlight, and I really don't need to do anything with them for quite a number of years. So eventually, obviously, if we can get pineapples from them, we'll want to be able to get in there to access them, to cut the pineapples. But yeah, I think that might be a really good use of the space. And again, we've got little sort of gaps here. So that's where I'm thinking to put all of the little pineapple tops that I've been propagating, and probably moving that pineapple that's just behind the kitchen garden. I think it'll be much happier out here with a little bit more water and sunlight. But I'm going to quickly check the time, and if I have the time, we might just cut a few of these flowers. All right, I have about 5 minutes left before I've got to head off to my hair appointment. But my little collection of blooms are there. So I don't think I'm going to have time to put them in their vases, but I'll sort of pop them on the patio there, and we can do that when I get back. But yes, quite the nice little garden haul. I'm home from the hairdressers, so I'm just going to get stuck into just arranging these little posies of flowers for the patio area. And would you believe it has just started to rain? Can you see all those rain clouds? So it might be a very kind of cozy afternoon, I think. I think maybe after this I might go into the gym and get a little bit of a workout in. And then maybe this afternoon we will just chill. I'm almost finished with the new Dan Brown book. I think it's called The Secret of Secrets. So maybe this afternoon have a little cup of tea, get all cozy, make myself a little snack, and kind of just enjoy the rainier, cooler weather and curl up on my couch with the book. But first things first, I'm just going to give these little glasses, a bit of a rinse out, and then we will de-leaf these flowers and then kind of just arrange them in a lovely, wild and whimsical display. Slight change of location. I've just seated myself up here on the rocking chairs. So I've cleaned out the vases and I've just topped them up with some fresh water, and I'm basically just going to go through, and as you can see, there we go. It's got leaves on it, so I'm basically just going to pull the leaves off. Very difficult to do one-handed, so I will not do that with you, but I'll just go through, pull all the stems off, and then place them in the vases. Alright, it has actually started to proper rain, and I actually have some washing on the line, so I'm just going to race around there and get that off the line, but flower arrangements are done. Well, it has been a few hours since I spoke with you. I think I was racing outside to get the towels off the line because it started to rain. So it's been a bit of an unusual weather afternoon. It's sort of rain and then sun and then rain and sun. So we shall see. They're forecasting a lot of rain tomorrow. But that's not such a bad thing. I'll make it nice and cozy. I've done my workout, I've had lunch, I've kind of faffed around a little bit, and I'm just having my afternoon tea. And I thought I would share with you, I've got my green tea, I've got the remains of a homemade chocolate chip cookie, I've got some of the pineapple that I showed you earlier today, that pineapple that I purchased this morning. I've cut it up into delicious bite-sized portions, as you can see here. And I'm just having that for my afternoon tea. And I thought I would very quickly just show you this book. So I mentioned it a little bit earlier. It did come with like a proper like plastic or paper jacket on it, but I've just taken that off because I find that really annoying. when I'm reading a cover book. This is the new Dan Brown book, The Secret of Secrets, and I'm almost finished. It is quite the hefty tome, this one. It's about 700 pages, but it has actually been a really incredible book. So I thought I'd just give it a little shout out in case you're looking for something new to read. I think it came out towards the end of last year. And these are the Dan Brown books. I don't know if you've ever seen the movies. They've been adapted into a couple of movies now. The Da Vinci Code, I think Angels and Demons. I don't know if the third book's been adapted into a movie, but they are the Dan Brown books. So the main character is Robert Langford, and he's like a religious symbology professor at Harvard. And basically he has an eidetic memory. It's like a photographic memory. And he's obviously a professor at Harvard, so he kind of travels the world and gives talks and lectures and things. But obviously, as he's doing that, murder and mayhem and mischief ensue. And so in each book, there's kind of, the main story, and it obviously gets resolved into each book, but the characters kind of continue on throughout the books. So this particular one here is, as I'm almost all the way through, it's about... The central kind of focus on this one is non-local consciousness. So these are completely fiction books, but Robert is in Prague. Robert Langdon, the main character, is in Prague. So that you can see there is actually the Charles Bridge. So he's in Prague for a conference. A friend of his is giving a conference. She's also a professor, and her area is on non-local consciousness. So her theory is that consciousness is not individual, but there's actually like a global or group consciousness, and we're all kind of interconnected. Obviously, you can read the book and it'll explain that in much better detail than what I just did. But the amount of detail and research that must go into these books is exceptional. That is a map of Prague. I have actually been to Prague before. It's an absolutely gorgeous city, because they've got a little note in here. Here we go. Fact: all artwork, artifacts, symbols, and documents in this novel are real. All experiments, technologies, and scientific results are true to life. All organizations in this novel exist. This novel is chock full of like scientific experiments and technologies and revolutionary sort of technologies, and it's very much rooted in neurological sort of experiments and in that kind of field. Obviously it's focusing on consciousness, and yeah, so I mean, I don't want to give anything away in case you do read the book, but I will just say the amount of research that would have had to go into a book this big is just exceptional. Like it's crazy, but it has been very, very enjoyable. So if you like, I would almost kind of call it like what I'm going to term a cozy thriller mystery kind of book. I wouldn't say it's super crime heavy. Obviously people die, but it's not really focused on that. It's definitely more of like a fast-paced kind of thriller, and I'm calling it cozy because I have not found this to be a particularly heavy read. Like sometimes you'll read a thriller book or a crime book and it can feel quite a heavy read, but this is all quite light. I don't know, it's a bit of a lighter read. I mean, it's 700 pages, it's not like a straightforward read, but yeah, anyway, I have really, really been enjoying that. I started it maybe 3 days ago, I think. And so I've absolutely loved it. It's been brilliant. I started reading this one after I finished I think it was called The Tainted Cup, which was sort of a fantasy murder mystery, which was very, very outside of my wheelhouse. I did enjoy it. It was very different for me though. Very, very different. but really, really enjoyable. But yeah, so this is the one that I am reading at the moment, and you should just be able to pick it up. I think I just got this in like the main department stores. It is very easily accessible, but it has been actually really, really great. So yeah, I thought I'd just give you a little book review there in the event that you are looking for something new to read. I have had a lovely afternoon just reading my book and relaxing. We've got some glorious evening sunshine here. But I have just popped dinner in the oven to warm up, so it's ready to go. And I'm just outside now with my little watering can, just some of like the plants, like those ones there on the beehive, and the strawberries in that. You can see they're dripping a bit of water there. They just need a little bit of extra watering throughout the week. So I'm just kind of racing around and giving them a little drink before. If you can see that spider, can you see him right there? I will let him get across. Spider safely across, and then I'm just going to head down into the orchard area and water a few of the berries in the pots, and just make sure. I just think this time of year, it's I'm in Queensland, so it's summer for me, and while today has been absolutely incredible weather-wise, oh gosh, if summer was like this all the time, it would just be so good. But unfortunately, we've been getting sort of almost 40-degree days over the last couple of weeks. So just sometimes the pots I find dry out a little bit quicker. And so these plants just need a little bit of extra help. I always just find, particularly with like fruits and vegetables, as I said to you earlier, everything in the orchard is just looking so unbelievably good. I cannot get over how well everything is doing down here. All the citrus is doing really well. The mandarin, the lemon, all the orange trees. I'm so hopeful that obviously the sort of formation of the orchard happened right in the spring when they would be getting all their fruit set. So we definitely weren't going to be getting any fruit any of the citrus fruit this winter. But I am very, very hopeful that next year, with how happy everything is looking, we may be lucky and we might get some really lovely sort of produce out of the orchard. Otherwise, I think everything is looking really good. The jasmine has had the massive clear up. It was desperately in need of, so normally there's jasmine here all up against this. It had some aphids in it and that, so it just got quite the clear out. As I said, the cucumbers have just been producing so much. My spinach is back. The tomatoes have been doing really well. I'm eating my brown onions. I definitely think this has been my best summer ever in the kitchen garden. I have never had it sort of last this long or do this well, so I am so pleased. And I'm trying to think of what I've tried to kind of I've actually watered it less than I think I have in previous summers, but I have been keeping up with the fertilizing. So whether it's just that sort of diligence with the fertilizing, but everything, yeah, just crazy that I've been able to still get produce at this time of year, like February. Normally this is all completely empty. It is all starting to just go over. Like obviously the cucumbers are kind of maybe got a few more weeks left. The same with the tomatoes. The spinach and the spring onions are year round. They never come out, similar to the rosemary. But onions are also almost all done. And then it will be getting the beds ready for the next growing season. That'll probably be maybe end of February, I'd say, early March, getting them all sort of topped up with fresh soil and ready to go. And then probably starting the next kind of planting season, I would say mid to late March. But I'm so happy with how the garden has done this summer. Oh, and the crepe myrtle blooms, look at them. Look how gorgeous they are. And so yes, everything's just been... Oh, and I mentioned this morning, you'll probably, again, if you've been subscribed for a little while, you'll probably remember this corner. Sorry, I've got a watering can and everything. This corner here used to have a, can't think of the name, it starts with a C, C-U-P-H-E or something like that. These ones here, but this used to be a massive one all around, and it was brilliant for years and provided such gorgeous structure. And then all of a sudden, that main sort of portion, this main portion here just died off. This little bit here is still really healthy and very happy, so we've left that in. But this one here, you can kind of see like the base of the root here, it just died off. Whether, because it has been there, that was probably in the first iteration of the garden when I sort of got it all done up with the pathways and that. So it's probably been there a good 5, 6 years, no, probably even longer than that, maybe 7 years. And so maybe it was just an end of life, unfortunately. But I have to think about something else for that corner. Everything in here is looking really pretty. I showed you this bed earlier. I'm so happy with how this is all filling out. I definitely think now that I've got lower plants here, I probably need to, this is an irrigation point here, I probably need to get a lower one. But otherwise, and again, all of that is just looking, and like, if you sort of stand here, I love like the colors and all the different textures, you know, from like these gorgeous sort of purpley red borders to the green steel blue flowers. We've got the salvia, we've got the conifer there. We've got this beautiful round shape. I'm not sure what this is called. This one here with little white flowers on it, but it grows like that. It grows in this gorgeous round shape, which just adds such like pretty structure. And then obviously we've got all the sort of different colors behind. You've got your ginger and turmeric out over here, loving life over there. So that's going to be so exciting to harvest those in sort of June, July. We've got the wisteria walkway up there. Everything is just looking really, really pretty. I showed you the bees earlier. Obviously water fountains are all stopped now. It is quite late. Bees have all gone home to bed, but yeah, it's just done so well, the garden. Summer can just be a really tough time with the storms and the heat and just trying to make sure we're keeping the water up. Just put my little watering can down. But while we've got sort of decent-ish light, I also wanted to show you the climbing roses. This is the sweet Laguna. She is just doing so well in this structure. I just can imagine it in a few years' time fully filling this whole thing out. So it's just going to almost be like this beautiful big green tower. And then when she blooms, her flowers are just beautiful and so ruffly and pink, and they smell just delicious. But so Rose Corner still going strong. You can see back here we've got the popcorn ground cover. We've also got the pink ground cover roses. We've got these ones. Look at these. Is this not? You're not even getting the colour properly. Oh, a little bit better there. The palest pink, little bouquets of flowers. And like even, look at them. And then we've got a single little mini rose here. And then if it comes across, I've got more tying back to do, but this is the Cinderella climbing rose. And you can see that this will get trained back as well. But training it back into this kind of structure. And can you see this here? And look, she's already going up. Oh, I'm so happy. That did not take long at all. So yeah, definitely all these additional ones to get trained back through. And then hopefully, I need to get rid of these things, but then hopefully this back wall here will then just be covered in a gorgeous climbing rose. And similar, she gets big, beautiful, roughly slightly paler flowers than the Sweet Laguna, and a slightly sort of more rose delicate scent. The Sweet Laguna is almost a bit more of like a fruity kind of a smell, whereas the Cinderella is a very sort of traditional rose smell, but it is gorgeous. And I'm so excited to have like an abundance of roses that I feel like I can actually start cutting them and then bringing them inside along with my other cut flowers. At the moment I don't have oodles of flowers, and so I always a bit, I don't know, I never know whether to cut them and, you know, bring them inside into vases and that. But I think once Rose Corner is kind of all up and everything's happy and blooming really beautifully, I will definitely start bringing in the roses and having them, you know, in the kitchen island or the bedrooms. But gosh. Anywho, dinner is possibly ready to go. So this has been quite the little impromptu garden tour at the end. But I just think this time of day, the lighting is just gorgeous. And the garden always looks so lovely. And the cooler weather today. I've been so happy with the cooler weather. I'm not a huge fan of the really hot weather. So yes, after this little impromptu garden tour, I am going to bid you farewell. I hope you really enjoyed spending the day with me. It's been, you know, a little bit of everything today, and it's been quite the nice sort of relaxing day. Just pottering around, you know. Alright, well, have an incredible rest of your week, and I will see you next week for another new video. Bye!